This is a guy named John Downman, 1774. This is a black and white rendition. So this is an old British watercolor. What I love the texture, and that's why I was trying to get different things. This one below is again, I don't really know him, something like Martin, and he is a contemporary of Ruskin, so I'm sure that some of you may have looked at that on the screen. It's ivy and a trunk and just, you know, a lot of very wonderful textured stuff. The one below is here is this, which is, who is that?
Homer?
Right, Homer.
Yeah.
Homer.
Yeah.
This, which is cropped in this thumbnail. So if you remember it on your screen, was Wyeth, right? Wyeth. And then this, which is a little bit cropped too, it's a wonderful tree.
I did not know that.
That is a beautiful Cezanne.
You can tell the brush strokes.
How about this?
Sergeant.
C. But you should speak that.
C.
C. I meant C, Sergeant. And this little guy, an adorable Prendergast, with some wonderful little trees and people and busy. So that's the story of the quiz. So I put up the inspirational tree things, showing these different things: texture, trunks, removal, sponging. This is another artist, but I was just duplicating my own version of this with sponging and getting foliage with massing. Cezanne again, Van Gogh, salient marks, and then these very flattened, one-plane versions. So,
The one right above.
as me,
I just want to hear you say.
that's Deborah Ellis. That I put with this because it's a different version of working around. This is Alex Katz, and you know, with the trunks and very formal and really no space here, you know, two-dimensional feeling. But massing foliage in it with a different technique, and basically that's what mine is. You know, just working around the trunks to punch them out in different ways. This is another one, old one, with the same thought. So these are different treatments.
Did you use masking on your
No,
work?
I did not. In this one?
Yes.
No, I worked between and around.
You don't hardly ever use
I hardly ever use
yes,
masking. And I put this up as an example. This is a woman who appears in this lovely book, British Watercolor. I mean, not old time British watercolor, but watercolor techniques, Hazel Harrison. This is, to me, one of the best, I don't know if it's available anymore, one of the best. Yeah, and she also does some other things. But the examples in it are all so beguiling and original and different and just terrific. Hazel Harrison, she's British, and all the artists in it are. This is an artist she reproduces many times, and back with Margetta. This woman does all this sort of filigree stuff, never uses masking. It's all working
Carefully.
in and around. Carefully, yeah. And she appears in many of the examples.
Yes, it's hard to get that little bitty stuff in between.
Well, this is was a fairly large painting. And
Especially on that side.
you know, you establish with a drawing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
drawing
and then
is
you
very
just have to-
established, and then work back and forth. Some of the whites, of course, have a little bit of tone on them also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the trees have.
Yeah. Exercise and the handout is to appreciate, first do with a contour. It's sort of the psychological moment here. So you blind yourself to the idea that here is a lot of, oh my gosh, this leaf this one's coming forward, this is coming, to start out by just recognizing the contour of it and establishing the contour, not thinking about, here this is modeled in this way and it's lighter and it's darker or comes towards you or away from you, all of which is true, and you might get into that. But this is to appreciate that contour and where the information comes of a particular leaf as it comes up, and maybe, I don't know if you can just imagine, maybe it sort of doubles up in your view. Try to go into 2 dimensions. And so this is a leaf in front of a leaf, but I'm not in the beginning, see as I did here. I am simply trying to see that contour. And that is a good thing to get into your head when you're dealing with trees. In general, Beth is showing me something she's doing. The information that comes as a tree is silhouetted against a sky, say, is all important. It's going to show you that it's a pine tree, or that it's an apple tree, or that it's an oak, or whatever. So you get these little bits of information, but you dispense with them a lot, and a lot of it might be clumped together in some kind of clumping fashion. But I mean, even this is the same idea as this pine goes out in against the sky. You start seeing pininess to it. Here too. I don't know what kind of tree. I'm assuming that's
Cottonwood.
cottonwood. Okay, yeah, because it must be Southwest, right? Or even California. But so those are informations just that give you something. But you're not necessarily seeing all of it at first. So you start by a drawing. I am doing this one here. The other thing to notice, try to do this quickly and loosely, freely, so that you get where something joins and joins to your branch as though it were a little tree. And the attitude of that join, where you see it, the attitude of the connection between a leaf and, where it joins the twig and then the branch and then the trunk. Again, each one of those things is informational about the particular kind of tree or branch or whatever. I mean, these are a poor substitute for a beautiful tree. That's why a lot of today is about your imagination. But here is my tree or my branch. And step 2, if you choose to do so, would be to then render it. This doesn't look as though I did what I said. Does it? It looks as though I have some yellow. I think it was quinacridone gold, it looks like. So I had suggested doing what is almost like a classic British watercolor thing, just using ultramarine and any burnt sienna. It could be whatever, Purell, transparent, Purell orange, quinacridone sienna, whatever. Just using that mix, so you get, it gives you a little bit of a range of sort of browns, blues, green-ish. But you don't have to even use that mix. You could even use a gold and a blue. And then explore the internal part, which is the bulk, and then model. You can model it as much as you want. You could do 2, one with just a contour, just to get that idea of that's what you want to do when you're looking. If you were sitting outside River Farm and trying to do that big, wonderful trees, you're going to get those little bits of information at the edges, and then it's all clumps, all together. But let's. I mean, I could even be doing it here.
Right.
But you can control it. You can say, I just want to go into those spaces around the tree. One thing probably is to use more than one color in it, just so it doesn't look just totally mechanical. But there's foliage right there. And you can then layer it with all sorts of stuff, including
I
put a
love to
little
make
light
trees
into
like
it.
that. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, this is quinacridone sienna. So it's always, when you're beholden to something, thinking, I'm trying to do this again. So I'm not going to, but I guess my main treatment would be trying to put a bunch of color down. I may end up actually liking this approach better.
What is this, black?
No, that is Paroline green.
It's fabulous.
Yeah,
Is it?
it's a wonderful, and it's one of my favorite,
Darkening.
darkening, mix with purple. Here you have Paroline green. I mean, look, now if you wash it out,
Really deep.
it's a beautiful, but it does, it granulates. Oh,
You know,
and
the
then
trouble
with
is
some
you could
purple.
just have
Which brand you use?
never-ending collections.
I think it's Daniel Smith, but it's also in Windsor. So look at that beautiful black, dark.
Yes, that's very pretty. Yes, yes, yes.
Since I have this purple, I will continue to use it.
Is that the carbazole?
That's carbazole. Here's a little burnt umber, which I don't use much. I'm going to just put a little, I'm going to try to make this a kind of neutral thing, and I'll put a little cerulean.
I love cerulean.
Cerulean is wonderful for,
Is this manganese?
that is manganese.
Spiraling green, right?
Transparent, carbazole violet and Paroline green. Okay, I just want to get, what I'm trying to do is put too much color on in order to take some off. Then I'm going to just to get some of this carving out, I will use this brush. I'm going to get a little more.
But you throw water in? No, that's all lifted, right?
It will be, yeah. But I'm trying to put, in order to do any lifting, you have to have kind of a lot of stuff.
Right.
You have to have enough
To make it worth it.
pigment
Right.
so that you can lift something.
Or you're not going to get the distinction.
You talked about how damp it has to be in order to have successful lifting. 'cause I'm very
It depends what you want. And if you look at some of this lifting, it's very soft, and it was probably quite wet. So I lifted off, and in this parts too, it's all quite soft. A little bit here where I got some of that,
And that was done with a brush.
like that. But you can do it, well, actually, this is not lifting, is it? This is coming back over. So I'll do both. I'll do a little of both.
When you do that with that brush, do you wipe it off?
You
too?
dampen it and pull out. So
And you-
I will do a
and you
little
go-
of that.
Wet, wipe the brush and then pull.
Wet, dampen it. So be sure you're, I think one of the most important things is to get used to
Cleaning it.
exactly how wet your brush is and your brush. This brush is very different, of course, than that.
Right.
And even another flat could be very different. So I
I think you
know.
can be much more sculptural with that.
Very,
flat.
exactly. This is good for
You pull out.
sculpting. So, so there you pull something out. When you look at that, it starts to come
Yeah,
back because
yeah.
it's quite wet. But you can modify, come back, and
Play with it.
play with it. And
You could
sometimes
even drop clear water into it if
you
really
you could. I mean, if you wanted a
uncomfortable kind of thing.
right, but it depends how sculptural you want. What I like usually is that little buzz of the edge, like that. And if you wait too long,
It'll make a hard edge.
it'll be a really hard edge. Thank you.